Hello, hello. I'm giving everybody a good 5 minutes per usual to get logged in. We are in here. Hello, hello. I'm still congested, you all, so please bear with me. I do apologize. But I said we're going to give everyone about 5 more minutes to get in. Well, 4 more minutes now to get in here. And then I'll go ahead and get started. Tonight's topic is going to discuss NEMT customer service protocols. I have that listed in the description as well if you all have any questions. If you don't have your emails listed or you haven't signed up for the updates, make sure you drop your emails in the comment section so that I can add you all manually, okay? Thank you. Appreciate it. For those of you who are not on East Coast time, thank you for joining me. You may still be behind the wheel, you may still be at work. Not sure where you are, but thank you for joining in. Definitely appreciate you all for being here. As always, as well, make sure whatever questions that you all have, you have them jotted down so that way we can get the most out of our time being here. If you're going to be in the chat, make sure you make yourself present. I am logged in on Facebook and Instagram, so if you see me going from different screens, that is why, okay? All right. Again, we are discussing NEMT customer service protocol. If y'all need to get you some water, you have some questions you want to jot down really quickly, this is the perfect time to do so while we wait for other people to join in with us this evening. All right, I see it. I got an email here. If you all are just joining in, thank you so much. Like I said, please make sure you drop your emails in the chat. That way I can add you all to the email blast. You get to vote on what we're going to talk about each week. You get to be updated on new videos and things like that, any new changes. So, yes, please make sure to drop you all's email in here. All right. I'm going to give them about 1 more minute. I'm going to go ahead and get started, okay? All right, I got your email over here on Instagram. Thank you so much. Jay, I got your email. I'm adding you to the list right now. I promise I'm not gonna spam you all. No, this is just for you all to be updated. Some weeks I don't know, what topics to bring to you all. So this helps me to get your personal opinion on what you all want to hear about, okay? So also please let me know what you all's main focus is or are so that I'll know next week, hey, this is what we can discuss, okay? Alright. Alright, I got one more email to add. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Again, if you all have some other people that you all know of that are not logged in, shoot them a text. Let them know, hey, get in here. We're starting. Okay. Okay. So like as I mentioned, tonight's topic is gonna discuss the customer service protocols for NEMT for not only your drivers but as well as for yourself. Um, if you are starting off as being a driver right now, or you're starting off being your own dispatcher, okay? So, first things first, I have it broken down into sections in terms of how this is going to go. I'm reading from my sheet that I made today or yesterday. So, bear with me, all right? Okay. First things first, there are different levels when it comes to things that your dispatcher should be doing and things that your driver should be doing. And if both parties are doing them, it all comes together and makes the team run perfectly, okay? Nothing is ever really perfect, but as perfect as it can get. So, when it comes to pre anthem calling, what is that? If you are not familiar, pre anthem calling is pretty much you're calling to confirm the details of the client's trip and also to confirm that the client is taking the trip. So, pre anthem calling should start no less than 24 hours in advance. Some companies do 48 hours, but 24 hours is pretty standard. So, you want to make sure that you're calling the client, either you or yourself are calling the client 24 hours prior to that client's pickup time because you want to confirm, are they still going to their appointment? Why is this important? Well, if you accepted the trip through a broker or you have booked this trip through private pay, you never want to send a driver somewhere and just hope that the client is still going to go. You want to make sure that that client is for sure still going to go. So the only way you're going to know that is if you call them to make sure they're still going to go. So there are certain things that you want to confirm when you're doing that pre-anthem call. Number one, you want to confirm their service level. At the time of booking or at the time of the broker sending the work order over, they may have said, okay, this is going to be an ambulatory client, but they may have missed some details. That client may actually be a wheelchair client. I have seen that happen time and time again, especially with wheelchair clients. I mean, by brokers, they try to skip out on paying what they really should sometimes, right? So if the client says, yes, I'm in a wheelchair, but I can transfer, then they may still try to set that client up with a regular vehicle. That's not fair for the client. So what your job is to make sure that you know what is that client's true service level. And the only way you're going to know that is by asking the question. So you want to make sure you confirm their service level. You also want to confirm their appointment time. You want to make sure that you have scheduled their pickup time and enough time for them to get to their appointment. Not at the time their appointment starts. If their appointment is at 2, you're not dropping them off at 1:58. No, you're making sure they get there at least 15 minutes prior to the start time of their appointment. Um, Now, when it comes to pickup and drop off addresses, you want to confirm that as well because you may have missed a digit if it's a private pay client. When they originally called to book with you, you may have missed a digit. If it's a broker client, they may have had an old address on file for that client, and at that point, you need to get the updated address and also contact the broker because that mileage could be different and it could be throwing off your pay by a few dollars or whatever, but those few dollars add up, right? Okay, cool. So you also want to confirm if that client has any additional passengers that will be transporting with them. Now, if it's a private pay client, you should definitely know this information at the time of booking, and you should also know if the broker sent over that work order. However, again, sometimes, I'm so sorry, you all. I need to blow my nose. I'm sick. These allergies. So sorry. Give me 1 second, please. Ooh, so sorry. I don't have any. I'm coming. I can't have y'all talking about me on live. Clean my nose out, okay? All right. You only get one shot on live because it's live. That's why it's called live. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to come back. Sorry. Okay. Now, when it comes to additional passengers, like I said, this is information that you should know at the time of booking. But sometimes that information is left behind, so you just want to confirm during your pre-anthem calls. Hey, do you have anyone riding with you? Thank you, I appreciate it. The reason why this is important is because you may be multi-loading a client, and if they have an additional passenger with them, you may not be able to account for that space. But you also know in advance if they do have a additional passenger because you have done your due diligence doing your pre-anthem calling. If they're in a wheelchair, you want to confirm their if it's an electric wheelchair or manual wheelchair, and you also want to confirm their weight because you want to make sure that whatever driver you have assigned to that client, they can handle getting that client into the vehicle. Some of your drivers may be able to push that client in. Some of your clients may not be as strong, drivers may not be as strong enough to push the heavier client in. So that information is important. Also, you want to confirm if the client will be transporting any type of oxygen with them to their appointment. The reason this is important is because how long is that transport? Does the client have enough oxygen to be transported and to sit in their appointment and to go back home? You know, all of these things matter. Also, once you get up to that service level where you provide the oxygen for the clients, you can charge a higher price point, okay? So all of these things matter. Now, in terms of, those are the questions that you want to ask 24 hours in advance. You also want to call the client 1 hour before their pickup time. Why? Well, how many times have you all made plans to do something the day before and then the day of comes and you no longer want to do it? That's how these clients do sometimes as well. You know, they have made these appointments and you've confirmed, and then the morning of, they may not be feeling well. A family emergency may have come up, things of that sort. So they have to cancel. So you want to make sure, but they might have forgot to call you. They canceling in their mind, but they just didn't make the act of calling the company that's picking them up to say, hey, not going to make it. So this is really important to also call 1 hour prior to pickup. So that's just some protocol in terms of pre-anthem calling and what to do with that. Now, when it comes to the driver, again, this pre-anthem calling, it could fall on either yourself or it could fall on the dispatcher. It just depends where you are in your business right now. Do you have a dispatch department? If not, okay, nothing wrong with that. That's something to keep in mind for when you do get one. But in the meantime, this is what you as an owner need to be doing to make sure that your day-to-day operations continue to run smoothly. All right, so moving on to driver etiquette. Now, when your driver, this is just some things to keep in mind. When your driver is transporting a client, you want to make sure your drivers are trained to not transport with loud music. When you are traveling with dead mileage, meaning you don't have a client in the car, so you may be picking up a client or you just dropped a client off, you are a representation for your business. So at the end of the day, if your company's t-shirt is being worn and the driver is, driving with the music blasting and you're going through a neighborhood, the neighbor's going to look at that vehicle and say, who is that? And God forbid your vehicle is wrapped or you have magnets on it or you have some type of branding on your vehicle where it's so easy for them to call the company and make a complaint. You don't want that. So make sure your drivers are trained for that. As well as while you're transporting the client, you got to think about it. Most clients are going to their medical appointments and they're pretty stressed before they get there. They may have anxiety about the appointment. We don't know why they're going all the time. They may not want to share that information with us, right? But it could be a very serious appointment where, the doctor may be about to deliver some pretty hefty news. They don't want to hear all of that rah rah on the way to the appointment. So anything that is calming and gentle for them to listen to, jazz music, even sports or weather updates, just depending on what your client is into, ask them. Ask them if they want to hear anything. Some of them don't want to hear anything, so turn the music off. It is your client's experience that brings them back to you, especially your private pay clients. So you want to make sure that whatever experience you are providing is an experience that they are comfortable with and it's something that they ask for. Maybe they don't want to hear jazz. Maybe they actually want to hear some rah rah. You never know. So the best thing to do is ask them. But if you don't have, that policy where your clients and your drivers are pretty interactive with each other, then just the standard is jazz, the news, nothing. Okay? Play it safe. You also want to make sure that your drivers are not eating in the vehicles. Now, I have a lot of this information listed in my employee handbook that's on my website. So I'm not going to go through everything in detail, but I do have some things that I wanted to point out in terms of driver etiquette. And not eating in the vehicles is one of them because the smell of food, it lingers. Some of these clients, they're not able to eat before their appointment. They're fasting because of whatever type of appointment they're having. Not everyone's food smells good. What tastes good to you may not smell good to the next client. So you want to make sure that if you're driving or you have drivers, that they're well versed to not eat in the vehicle. Okay? Let them take a break outside the vehicle. Let them get some air so that air is not floating throughout the vehicle, and keep it moving from there. You also want to make sure, I know a policy that I have for my drivers is that even though if you smoke cigarettes, that's fine. You can't smoke on the clock at all. No. This is the reason why. You have your work shirt on. You're getting back into the van. That tobacco smell, it lingers. No one wants to smell that, okay? I don't care if you stood outside for 20 minutes while somebody was in their appointment and you're waiting on them. And I don't care that cigarettes are legal. We're providing an experience for a client. So that's easy for them to sit there and complain. It's an easy complaint. Why get that complaint and just have a policy instead that says, hey, no smoking on the clock. You're getting paid to do a job. I'm not paying you to smoke. I know a lot of jobs do allow you to take a smoke break outside, but this is not one of them. Okay? So just something to keep in mind. Again, whatever protocols that you have in place for your company, that's for you. But I'm giving these as an example because these are situations that either myself or other providers that I am, very aware of, they've dealt with. So I'm not going to tell you anything to do or not to do that I myself haven't experienced already. Okay? Let's see. Okay, pre-appointment transport. This is when the driver is either on the way to the client or has just arrived at the client's home, but the client hasn't entered the vehicle just yet. Okay? So, I said that we do the 24-hour in advance call, and then we do the 1 hour before pickup call. But we also have the drivers who call the client while they're on the way to the client's home. Why? Well, we've gotten to a client's home, and it has taken them 15 minutes to find their purse. It's taken them 15 minutes to put their shoes on. Every minute counts. Especially if you are picking up multiple people at one time, if you are multi-loading, if you have another client in the vehicle that's going closer to the other client's appointment, right? And you've already had that one client in the car, you get to the next client's home, and that client is delaying the transport of this client because they're looking for their shoes, looking for the bag. But if a driver is calling while they're on their way to the client's home, it eliminates that. It saves you time and it keeps the flow moving smoothly, okay? So keep that in mind. Let me look at my sheet. All right. Okay, so now this falls on the dispatcher because this is really not a job of the driver. The driver can relay this information to the dispatcher, but it's really the job of the dispatcher to do this. But there have been instances where it could be the day of the client's appointment. The client has already been contacted 1 hour before transport. They're getting ready for their appointment and they realize, oh man, I need to go to the pharmacy after my appointment. I need to add an additional stop. So they may call into the dispatch department and let the dispatch department know, hey, I need to at another stop, or they may call into their broker or whoever set the transport up to add that additional stop. If that happens, then let them know, let the driver know immediately, because it's not the driver's job to determine if what they're saying is true. Clients can fib or, not tell the truth, especially when it comes to a broker, because they only have a certain amount of trips per year. So they want to stretch those trips out. So they'll say, well, I called and added an extra stop. Did you? Or did you not? You want to make sure you're confirming that, and that's not your driver's job to confirm. That's yourself or the dispatcher's department to confirm, and it's that department's job to relay that information to the driver so that everything continues to move smoothly. At the beginning, I told you all that there are different things for the dispatcher and different things for the driver, but they all go hand in hand. And I hope that you all are getting a better insight on how that works hand in hand, because what one person doesn't do could trickle down to what the next person has to do, and it really shouldn't be that way. Everything should be in alignment with each other, okay? So, now, I'm going to give you a scenario. This is arrival at home. We're moving on. We talked about what the driver should be doing pre-transport and when they get there. Now, I'm sorry, pre-transport and while they're on their way there. Now, say for instance, the driver gets to the home and the client is a no-show. We called 24 hours in advance. We called an hour in advance. We called while we were on the way, and we weren't able to get a hold of the client. Now, if this is a private pay client, you should have the updated phone number. You should have all of the information in stone. And the reason why I make a difference between private pay and broker is because private pay, there is no third party person sending you the information. It's either yourself or your dispatch department capturing that information for the client's trip details. The broker, there's a third person, a middleman, that could sometimes mess up the details and miss information that needs to be sent to you. So that's why I say that. I'm sorry, you all. Give me 1 second. My computer is about to die, and that means the Facebook group is going to be cut off. 1 second. I still have the Instagram group over here, but let me get. This thing was fully charged, but I guess not. Trying to do better this week with having these things fully charged in the night. Alright. Got that there. And I have some sniffles while I am over here. Give me 1 more second so I can clear myself out. All right. Okay. So, say for instance, you've done all your due diligence and you get to the client's home, and the client is a no-show, or they're not responding. I'm not going to say you haven't marked it as a no-show yet, but the client is not responding. So, you have your driver to knock on the door. Don't ever have them beep the horn. This is not Uber. This is not Lyft. Okay? You are offering an experience. This is non-emergency medical transportation, and it is labeled that because we offer a different experience than that level, right? So you want to make sure that you're providing that and that you are giving them something to brag about. Beeping a horn for someone to come outside is not giving them something to brag about. So make sure your drivers are trained to knock on that door, stand there for a few minutes, see if they hear something, you hear any rambling around in the house. Okay, no, we don't hear anything. All right, well, based on whatever your company standards are or whatever is in your broker contract, you are going to wait or have that that driver to wait on that client, whether you have a 10-minute allotment time or a 15-minute allotment time, whatever, you're going to have that driver to wait for that time until you release that driver from that client's home. During that time, to cover your client's reputation, you want to make sure you have that driver snap a picture of the client's home that you can see a visible address and have that picture sent to either yourself or your dispatch department. This way, if you are audited for the trip or there is some discrepancy about sending a driver out there, you have proof that a driver was there. Because how else would you have a picture of a client's home unless someone was there, right? Okay, so that's how you do your due diligence to protect your company's reputation. All right. Um, All right. Now, we're going to move down to actual pickup. Say, for instance, the driver gets there and everything goes smooth. We've already confirmed with the client. The client has already, said, hey, yes, I'm going. I'm waiting for you. I'll be ready when you get here. All right, great. There is no reason why that client should open their own door. Your driver or yourself should be opening the door for that client. It's an experience. I'm going to keep it short. Now, when that client gets in that vehicle, you want to make sure that your driver is trained to pass that seatbelt. Why? Because if any accidents occur and you left that responsibility on the client to put their seatbelt on and they didn't, the blame still comes back to you. So you need to make sure that before you guess if that client was wearing a seatbelt, you know that client was wearing a seatbelt because your drivers have been trained to put the seatbelt on the client or to pass the client the clutch, the buckle, and wait for them to put that seatbelt on. Okay? Also, before taking off, now we've confirmed, again, this is the job of the dispatcher to confirm the trip details. However, sometimes things get missed. So just get your drivers familiar and trained that, hey, after we get the seatbelt on and after you get back into your driver's seat and however you all route the software, route your trips, whether you have routing software or if you're doing it manually with papers, I'm not sure. But before that driver takes off, have them verify where they're dropping the client off at, okay? All right. Now, and also, if there are any discrepancies or any, miscommunications with the address or anything, they should be, instructed to contact dispatch immediately and let them know. Okay. All right. Also, I'm not sure. Again, private pay or broker, however you all are doing it right now. You want to make sure that if your client is a call for return or a will call or whatever, you want to make sure that they have some type of way to get in contact with your office to let you all know, hey, I'm ready to go home, right? So I call them callback cards, and this is our version of our callback card. It has our company's information on it. It says call for pickup, email. It has, email, website, and on the back of it, it has the services that we offer as well as the driver's name. That way, the client knows who picked them up, who dropped them off, and if they need to call us again, they know the services that our company offers because listed on the back. Okay? So if you all haven't started just yet and you all are about to get your marketing materials, I'm so sorry. You all are about to get your marketing materials or you all have your marketing materials and you're thinking about, switching up a little bit, make sure that you include your services on your marketing materials because that saves the client from playing the guessing game. Well, I wonder what kind of transportation they offer. They already know because it's already on the card. Okay? All right. Next step, we are... Okay, so we have gotten to the client's home. We've gotten them in the car. We put their seatbelt on. We got back in the front seat. We confirmed where we're dropping them off to. We confirmed that they have a callback card, so they know how to get in contact with us. Their mind is at ease. Okay, I know who picked me up. I know who to call when I'm ready to go home. I'm going to this appointment. It's going to be all right. That's the mindset that you want your clients in, okay? Worry-free. And the reason why I say give them a callback card before taking off is because if they are a will call or call for return client, that's the number one thought in their mind. Well, who's going to pick me up? Or how am I going to let this company know I'm ready to go home? Trust me. If you haven't started yet, you're gonna know. If you are in the business already, then you know. They always ask that question. So just let them be more at ease by just providing the answer up front for them. Um, all right, now while in transit, there are certain things that you want to kind of train your driver on to pretty much pick up on different small talk questions that could add a lot of benefit to the dispatch department that can help you all gauge, when this client is going to be ready. Can we get this client on retention? What do we know about this client? So, some of the things that you want to kind of train your drivers to make small talk about, I have listed here. And I also have some reasoning why I listed them here. So, I said drivers should be trained on how to make small talk to capture valuable information needed to relate back to the dispatcher. So, some of the small talk could be, hey, what kind of appointment are you having today? This is important because it may have, if it's private pay, you should know if they're going to be having wait time, or if they're going to call for return, you should already know that for sure. But if it's a broker and they have a will call, or even private pay is a will call, um, you want to know, okay, well, how long can this person may be in their appointment for? So knowing what kind of appointment, if they're willing to share, knowing what kind of appointment they may have will allow you to be aware of how long their appointment may be, and when you may be ready or prepared to be called for that B leg of the trip. Um, your driver could ask, is this your first time seeing this doctor? Many times when it's the client's first time seeing a doctor, they have more paperwork to fill out. They may have more tests to run or more scans to run because it is that client's first time at the doctor. So knowing that information is helpful as well. And simply just asking the client, hey, do you know how long your appointment may be? Some clients, they're going to the same doctor they always go to. They're going for the same thing that they know they're going for. So they know how long their appointment is going to be. Okay, so just ask them, and that information will be helpful as well to relay back to the dispatch department or yourself. Um, Post appointment transport, of course, you want to make sure that the client is secure at all times. Pre appointment, post appointment. Make sure the client has their seatbelt on. And the way you do this is by buckling it up for them. Don't put that trust into the client because, again, if an accident happens, it's you. Okay? It's on you. Um, you want to allow your drivers to use their best judgment to determine if the client wants to talk. Some clients, like I said, they may have gotten some pretty heavy information at their appointment, and they're not in the mood to talk. They are pretty standoffish. These are the clients that you just want to get back home. Take it easy, be understanding, and put yourself in their shoes. They may not feel up to it, and that's okay. They don't have to talk to you, okay? So allow your drivers to be trained to use their best judgment and be able to read the room to understand, should they talk, should they engage, or should they just play some quiet music, should they play any music? Again, you can also ask the client, do they want to hear something right now? They're your client, it's their experience, make it a good one. Also, if that client is a private pay client or a broker client, either of the two, you want to try to see if that client has any follow-up appointments or any upcoming appointments so you can retain that client. You want to have your dispatch department reach out to them, ask them how their experience was, if they have anything else coming up that you need to get them booked for. These are your clients. This is how you retain your clients. We love good customer service. As consumers, not as business owners, think about how you feel when you get good customer service somewhere. That entices you to come back. So you're literally selling your business for your clients to come back. So make sure they come back. Okay? Um, in terms of my bullet points for protocol, that's what I have there. I actually finished up about 4 minutes early for the bullet points. But that's good because it gives us more time for Q&A. So I do see a couple of questions in the chat, and I'm going to go through them. And then if you think of some questions while I'm going through these, please drop them here. Again, you never know who may have the same question as you, okay? Uh, so keep moving too much. Are you paid prior to pickup? Okay, that question depends on if it's broker or if it's broker or if it is private pay. If it's private pay, absolutely, you are paid prior to pickup. If it is a private pay with a facility in which you have a contract, then you are paid in terms of whatever you all negotiated in the contract. Meaning, you worked out something with the facility, whether it's net 7, net 15, net 30. And if you're not familiar with net means is 7 days after, basically. So net 7 will be 7 days after the services are performed, you get paid. Net 15, 15 days after the services are performed, that you get paid. 30, net 30, 30 days after the services are performed, that you get paid. So you want to be, I need some tissue again, y'all. You want to be well versed in what it is that the payment terms are for whatever contract that you have. But if you're talking about just the individual private pay, absolutely, you get paid prior to service. Okay, I am just getting started. How is the application process with Medicaid? Carol, which state are you in? And are you asking to take trips directly through Medicaid, Medicare? Are you asking about brokers or are you asking about an MPI number? I need you to be a little bit more specific so I can help you out. Okay. And so you're in Georgia. Hey, we're in Georgia together. And so are you looking to do, uh, okay, with brokers? Okay, so you're asking me how's the application process with brokers? Okay, all right. Um, So in terms of the application with brokers, and also I encourage you all, please make sure you check out my YouTube because I also have a video pertaining to this as well, how to get an NEMT contract with brokers. But with brokers, once you reach out to them, they'll give you a list of their criteria and qualifications that you need. And from there, you want to start making sure that you check everything off. In terms of when you first start your NEMT company, the most expensive thing is going to be the insurance. So with that being said, of course, the higher the limits, the more you qualify for different contracts. But here in Georgia, the standard um, commercial insurance limit is 300,000, but many companies require a lot more than that. They require $1 million, or at least 500,000, right? So if you start off with that $500,000 policy, that allows you to be competitive and go after the broker contracts. But again, some of them ask for the $1 million policy. But once you reach out to them and get the qualifications that they require, then from there you want to start chopping down to see where you qualify. Okay. Okay. Do you offer individual training? No problem, Kara. I hope that answers your question. If not, then ask me another question, and I hope we can get it get it right. But let me know. Um, do you offer individual training and or coaching? If so, how can I sign up? Okay, so yes and no, and I like to answer this each week. I let you all know, but I do, but I don't. And when it comes to the one-on-one mentoring, I don't really have the time to dedicate to give you all the time that you all would really need for me to make sure that you all are up to date and doing what y'all need to do to get set up for real, for real. Just to keep it simple. I'm not sure if Merly is in here, but Merly, if you are, please throw a hand in the chat. But Merly is someone who I'm working with one on one right now. Not holding her hand, but we've had several updates and check-ins to see her progress. I still run my business full time, so I don't want to say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and be your business coach, and I can't dedicate that time that you all need because it's gonna be time, and I don't want to do that to you. I do offer consultation calls. I do follow ups with those consultation calls to see where you all are. I do my lives every Wednesday. I have all the documents that you all would need to get set up in terms of the broker list, the insurance list, an independent contract, an employee handbook. All of that stuff is on my website, and it's I put it in the chat. It's www.thatnemtgirl.com. So you can check that out. But in terms of no problem at all. But in terms of actually being able to offer you all that follow up and that real one on one that you all are looking for, I don't want to do that to you all because you all deserve someone that will be able to dedicate the time that you all need. And I know for me, I had a mentor that I paid in the beginning, a lot of money, matter of fact. But some of the time I wasn't able to get what I needed because she too was running her business. So, I don't want to do that to anybody else. But in terms of offering you the consulting that you all need, I got you. I got you. I promise you. Okay. All right. Her question is, how do you find brokers in your state? I'm in Louisiana. I know all the Medicaid brokers. I'm preferring some more private pay that's not Medicaid. Okay, so if you're talking about private pay, then you're not talking about a broker at all, because private pay is just that. It's not a third party person. A broker is a third party. That's somebody who is finding you trips and or giving you clients and sending you those trips, and you can accept them or reject them. Private pay is when you have gone to a facility, you have sold your business to this facility and say, hey, you're a rehab clinic that's based here. I see that you all don't provide transportation for your clients. I have 3 wheelchair vehicles, and I can also do stretcher transport. These are my rates. This is my COI. You want to have all this information in a binder because essentially you're going to go sell your business. But that's when you work out a private pay contract. And you determine what the rates are. You determine what your debt is, and essentially the executive director or the property manager or the case manager of that facility is responsible for making that contract and having that partnership with your company. So the reason why everyone advocates for private pay is because you don't have a middleman taking part of your money. You don't have, someone who is giving you stipulations on how your company runs. It's different. So, in terms of private pay, you want to actually pull data. That comes down to pulling data, and I actually have, I think it's going to be next week's live when it talks about pulling data and how you look at the numbers for your city or your state to see which areas you should go to try to get these private pay clients. Because you don't want to just go out and just start posting flyers and posting brochures. Number one, they may get thrown away because nobody knows what this flyer or brochure who this came from, and most senior citizens, if you're catering to them, you have to think about how many senior citizen scams we have right now that are going on, especially post COVID. The seniors got eaten up through scams, so they're not really too they're not really too easy going about, trying new things or new companies that weren't referred to them by somebody that they trust. So if they're living in a rehab facility, you don't want to just go there and post in your flyers because they don't know who this is. Their case manager that they see every day that works with them every day has not recommended this company to them, so they're not even going to pay you any attention, right? You want to get in contact with the people that actually run the show because that's the person that's going to be able to approve a contract for you, right? So it's no point and no purpose of walking around a building aimlessly posting stuff and you haven't made contact with the head honcho because the head honcho is how you're going to get paid, right? So you want to do that homework first. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you are tuning in. Um, do you recommend private pay for a new NEMC company? I recommend both. I recommend both. And the reason I say this is because I always advocate for diversifying your portfolio as much as possible. And again, I can't stress this enough, but I'm never going to tell you all something that I myself have not personally gone through or have seen one of my partners go through. Yeah. So when you are putting all your eggs in one basket of just doing broker work, what happens when you lose a few contracts, right? Your money dries up. when you weren't putting that attention to build your private pay clientele. What happens when it's the beginning and you have your insurance to pay, you have maybe car notes to pay, and you're not generating income because you can't find the private pay clients? That's where the broker comes in, right? So you need both. You need both. I advocate for being able to do both. In between you doing your broker, if you start off with brokers, just to, get started and have some income coming in, great. But in between you doing that client, in between you dropping Mr. James off, or you dropping Mr. Paul off, whoever, you're calling. You have mapped out that night at home. You mapped out who you were going to call the next day to see, do they provide transportation for their facility? Do they look? Are they looking for a transportation provider for their facility? That's what you're doing in between your broker's clients. Because think about it, if you were working for a company, you're working at least 8 hours a day, right? So that's how I look at it when it comes to running my own business. I'm not working until I get set up, get my company set up to where I feel like, okay, I can do hands off more. I'm not working less than 8 hours a day. So I don't care if I had two clients from this broker and we made $450 for the day. I know in my mind that I made money with this broker, $450 with two people. But what if I had private pay? That could have been $700, right? The brokers take percentages of your money. So keep that in mind. So you want to make sure that while you're doing your brokers, you're also building up your private pay. Okay? All right. What other questions we got? We got about 10 minutes left for Q&A. So what other questions we got? No problem, no problem. Again, I'm hoping these answers help you all with your questions. If not, ask me another question, and hopefully we can get an answer to it. But I'm hoping that this is getting you all somewhere. But yeah, keep them coming with other questions that we have. While you all think of those questions, I just want to remind you all to make sure that you drop your emails in here so that if you're not signed up for the updates that I send on my website, then you can get them. Within the updates, I send polls each week to say, okay, hey, what do you all want to talk about? Because the topics are so broad for us to talk about. I want us to narrow it down to know, what we're talking about. So let me know. Make sure you drop your information. Okay. How do you keep up with all your vehicles? Do you have trackers? Yes. So I utilize bouncy trackers. Um, Now you could get the trackers that have the kill switch, connected to the engine. That way, um, when it's time, if you have that situation where you have to kill switch a vehicle from a driver, you're able to do so. But I use Bouncy. Bouncy is not a kill switch. It hooks up to your ODB port, and you're able to, on your phone, let's see if I can do it on my phone right here. So you all can see. There's an app on your phone that you have, and you're able to get all the updates for your vehicles. Oh, I gotta log back in. Alright, log me out. Never get logged out. What's my password? Ah, there we go. Okay. Alright. So, let me go back. Okay, so this is what Bouncy looks like. This is what the app looks like. Oh, let me back up some. Oh, hold on, Facebook. Come on there. Y'all see over here? Okay. So this is the vehicle information down here at the bottom. And it can tell you, where it tells you where the trips were started. Ooh, where the trips were started, how much mileage they drove, if you have certain features hooked up. Ooh, sorry, this brightness. But if you have certain features hooked up, then you'll be able to see if they had any type of hard braking, hard stopping, things of that sort. Um, so I definitely recommend all of you all to have some type of tracker on your vehicle. Not even just your company vehicles, but your personal vehicles too, because I'm not sure where you all reside, but across the nation, it's like they're going in and increasing the break-ins and car thefts. So I recommend anybody to have a tracker on their car. But Bouncy is really good. It gives you updates if your driver is stopped and your time is their time and it's not adding up in terms of what time they drop the client off or X, Y, and Z. You're able to go onto that tracker and see, well, where was this driver at this time? Were they really here? And if not, that kind of shuts down all discrepancies from happening because you have a track record and a paper trail of where that driver was. Um, Give me 1 second, you all. Let me see. Right. I'm sorry, you all. I'm trying to, because once I end the live, I don't think I can see you all's emails anymore. I've been having that problem for the past 2 weeks. So I'm trying to make sure I get them captured in here while I'm on here with you all. And so I don't miss anybody. And I do apologize, but it asks me for your first and last name because when it sends the email, it sends out that, like, hi, so and so. So I do apologize, but I have you all's social media handles as you all's first and last name, so that'll come through your email that way. All right. All right, gotcha. All right, now, let's see, we got a question here. Um, Is it okay to start with one wheelchair or stretcher accessible vehicle? Absolutely. You can definitely start with one. Now, in terms of if you're talking about will brokers accept you, it depends. Some brokers require you to have more than one vehicle. So you want to reach out to them to see will they accept you with just one vehicle, and if so, then you definitely want to reach out to them. Um, but if not, then that could be an issue. But for private pay, you could absolutely start with one with one. And again, some I know pre-COVID, more brokers were a little bit more lenient in terms of allowing people to start with one vehicle, but post-COVID, it's been a little different. Again, I'm sorry, you all. I'm talking a little slow, but I'm trying to get these emails on. Okay. All right. Do you have documents, tools that you keep in the car for your driver? Uh, in terms of documents, I'm not sure what you mean, but in terms of tools, yes. Each van or each vehicle has a bucket that is stocked with different things. So and that you also have to have in your vehicle, such as your first aid kit, blood passengers kit. Um, you have hand sanitizer. You have clean sanitation wipes. You have sanitation spray. You have tissue. You have uh, headache medicine, pain reliever. Um, you have jumping cables. You have a seatbelt cutter. You have flashlights. You have your triangle reflectors in case the vehicle breaks down. So absolutely, you want to make sure that your vehicles are staffed with things that you know your drivers may need in the event of an emergency, or just to keep the cleanliness of the vehicle. And especially post COVID, you absolutely want to make sure that you have some type of hand sanitizer, some type of disinfectant spray, mask. You have things that will allow the driver to sanitize it, because if not, if the driver's not doing that, that means you're doing it, and that's more work for you as an owner. Again, starting off, it may just be you, but you want to get yourself in that mindset. Okay, well, how is this going to look when I hire somebody else? And the way that it looks is you getting in the process of passing that task off to your driver. So if you do have a driver, you want to make sure they are equipped with not the information, with the things that they need in the van to, do a nice little spot clean. Okay. All right. Let me get this person added to the email, and I go back to the question. I think we got time for, after I do this, we got time for two more questions. Um, so make sure you all get them in here. And also, if you all joined us in late, that is okay. You can run the playback of this live on my page. You'll be able to. What? Okay. Do you use cameras to watch your drivers? Personally, me, no. I have a pretty good team of drivers that it took me a while to get here with them. But I have a pretty good team of drivers, and I would say they've been pretty trustworthy. So, no, I believe that for me right now, where we are in my journey of business, the trackers, the geotag on our routing software, like I have three different ways that I can keep up with the location of where my drivers are exactly. Um, so, and they can't turn it off. So that helps me. Um, and then our clients, they're gonna snitch and tell if anything is wrong anyway. If your driver is doing something that they should not be doing, your client is gonna tell. Now, as your company grows, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you shouldn't get cameras. Yes, uh, it just depends on what your company's budget is at the time. But in terms of the cameras, it's absolutely a great thing to have. If you have any accidents, if a client tries to make any complaint, you have something that can cover your company's reputation with a simple video, so yes. Tracker is Bouncy, Bouncie. That's the tracker company. Okay, Sean has the last question on the floor. And the last question says, do you share any information about licenses that you need to get started? So, Sean, I need you to tell me, which state are you located in? Most states for NEMT, you do not need a special license. However, if you are transporting, or your vehicle transports 15 passengers or more, then you will need a passenger's license or a carrier's license. But you are in Tennessee, no, you do not need a special license for that. No. In Tennessee, y'all actually have a good need over there as well. So, um, yeah. All right, you all. So I want to take the time to thank you all for joining in tonight. I appreciate you all as always. We will be back next Wednesday. My family is coming in town from Maryland this weekend, so we'll be having some good times. If I have to cancel it Wednesday, I'll let you all know, but I don't think so. I think we'll be good to go for next Wednesday. I don't know what the topic is going to be, so if you all, before you all log off from this live, if you all can do me a favor and drop whatever topic that you all would want to see next week or hear from me next week, please let me know, because I literally sit and rack my brain and say, well, what did someone ask me about last week? What did we talk about, a week before last, somebody had questions about? Let me know. This is for you all. This is something that I do for you all each week. So let me know what you all want to see from me, okay? Also, okay, HIPAA. Good. Okay. Also, too, I'm sorry, I'm saying okay because I'm reading the comments as they come in. But, yes, and definitely. Thank you so much, Kara. I appreciate the well wishes. But, yes, definitely make sure that you all are tuning in next week. Also, like I said, make sure that you all are checking out my website. If you all have any questions, you can book a consultation call. I have two options. The free 15-minute call. You have something quick that you want to ask, you can book that call. I'll reach out to you. I will be honest, I had to do something with my Wix. I don't know what's going on with it, but I did not get my notifications for this week. So I had a few people that had booked the call for this week that I actually got to them late, but I still got to them, okay? So even if you all book the call, and I don't get to you at that exact time that you book, I'm gonna reach out to you. I promise. Okay. Also, too, if you need more than 15 minutes, I have a 45-minute call option on the site as well. Again, all the documents that you all need to get started, I do have. I have the broker list. I have the insurance list. I have an employee handbook template. I have a private pay contract template. And all of it is customizable where you can, it literally each section explains what this section is for, what you should put, or if you need to take it out because the verbiage doesn't suit you. Okay? So check that out, www.thatnemtgirl.com. Also, please, again, drop in the site what you all want to hear about next week because I don't know. And it saves me time if y'all just tell me what y'all want to hear about. Okay? All right. Also, too, if you didn't get a chance to drop your email, I'm sorry, I'm just going over my last little notes. But if you didn't get a chance to drop your email, drop your email. And also, yeah, I think that's about it. But, oh, sorry. Follow on Instagram if you're not, because I know last week I had some problems with the live. Y'all, I should know this, but I'm still getting used to this, all of this. And so I had set up the live on Facebook last week in the wrong group. So that's where we kind of got screwed up at. But make sure you're following on Instagram because I know I can just go there and press the button. But Facebook has a lot of other features that I'm still trying to work out. So bear with me, okay? But again, I thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I will see you next week. I hope to talk to some of you all soon on the phone. Book your calls. We got some questions, okay? Let's get this thing going, y'all. Have a good night. Get some dinner. Bye.